Oh, hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time since I last made a movie or last made a video, but I thought that I would be doing more off-roading now than I have been. So we're stuck in a lockdown in New Zealand at the moment, a COVID lockdown. So all of our trips that were planned through the Range Rover Club have been postponed for now until we know what's going on. So anyway, I was at a bit of a loose end today, so I've been playing around with my Range Rover, well, both of my Range Rovers. So I thought, well, I'll just do a quick video and run through what I've done with them, just in my boredom hours of this COVID lockdown business, and yeah, just see what you think. Now, my P38 Range Rover is an old one. It's 2000. No, it's not. It's 1999 model. It was the first model that came out with the Bosch electronics and the what's called a Thor engine, which has got slightly different fuel injection on it. Arguably a little bit more reliable than the earlier Gems model engined P38s, but I don't think so. It's pretty much as unreliable as all the rest of them. So that's that, and I've been, whenever I go away on a four-wheel drive weekend with my my other Range Rover, the bush truck, we camp. So I wanted to be able to camp in it in the P38, but I didn't want to be. Well, what happened was, one trip I went on, it was pouring with rain, it was freezing cold, and I arrived late at night, about 10 o'clock at night, and it was muddy and miserable, and the last thing I wanted to do was put my tent up. So I just slept in the back seat. It was hugely uncomfortable because I've got a crook leg from when I still haven't had it. It still hasn't healed from my big motorbike accident I had a few years ago. So that wasn't any good. But anyway, it got me to thinking about, I'd quite like to be able to sleep in it all the time, because firstly, you don't have to put up a tent. You don't have to worry about the weather. It's a lot warmer, and everything's to hand. Well, it can be if I organise it right. So I thought, well, I'll set about trying to figure out a way of doing that. So we'll go over to the old Range Rover now, and I'll show you what I mean. Right, here are the Range Rovers, one behind the other. It's my wife's little car there, the little Nissan Micro convertible. Always turns head, that little thing. Anyway, here's the Range Rover. Now, if I open up the back here, you can say hello to my dog. That's Betty. She loves it in here. Now, as you can see, I've got a mattress there. I'll just put the back down as well, tug it down as well. Now, I started off with that box system in the back, and I've put some electrical connections in there. We've got the USB there, ordinary 12-volt cigarette outlet there. I've got switches for both of those so that they don't drain power when I'm not looking. Put some lights in the back here, some LED lights. I don't know whether you can see them, but just there. Let me see. See, I've got that there. I've got one on each side. I got them for like $5 or something from a Chinese website, and I didn't know what to do with them, and so I stuck them there. They're actually surprisingly good. They really light up the inside there. Now, I had this box system here, and a lot of people have drawer systems. Well, I thought, well, I don't want drawers. I just want something cheap and basic, just sort of to prove the concept. So I went to Mitre 10 and got these plastic bins, and they just do the job nicely. This is my camping one, and I've got my cooker there, my gas cooker, which is, I used to use a smaller one because I'm used to motorbike camping, so everything was really small, and it's fine. I still use the little gas cooker, but I got this one because it was cheap and it's faster and it does a better job, and it's quicker, and I can still use the little one as well if I want to. if I want to do that. So that's that thing. Anyway, and that runs on these gas cartridges. And then I've got my knives and forks and bits and pieces just in that little old camera bag. Got cups and plates and stuff in there. There's another cup. Kettle down there. Coffee, thermos, tea bags. Pretty much it. See, so I like to just keep everything really minimalist, very small, because I can't be bothered mucking around with stuff, with lots of fancy things. I just don't think it's necessary. I'm sitting back in there. On this side, now this is an interesting little thing. The sand off it. This is a 12 volt portable stove, and my wife found this in an op shop years and years and years ago, and she thought, oh, that might be handy if there's ever an earthquake or something. So she bought it for $1 or whatever. I commandeered it because it just works off the old cigarette lighter. You can plug it in there, and you'd think it would be useless, but I'll tell you what, there it is there. It is bloody marvellous. What you do is you put it in the morning. I could put a cold pie or a hamburger or anything that I want heated up for lunch in there, shut the lid, plug it into the 12 volt, and then just leave it going all morning until lunchtime. And then by the time lunchtime comes around, it's piping hot. And it's just amazingly how well it works. It's just really, really, it's such a simple little thing, but it works really, really well. And on that same trip I was talking about where we went to Naroma in the last video, I took a couple of cold hamburgers with me that I bought from the service station. Put one in there each day we were there, and it was, when it came to lunchtime, we stopped and out on the track, and everyone got out their cold sandwiches and rolls and stuff. And I got out me hot burger, and there's a few people were a bit envious, except one, because the guy I got the idea off, he's got a similar setup. So it's good. I keep, just in case you're wondering, I keep that watering can there because I was having trouble with the old girl running itself out of water, because I had a slight leak in the engine bay where the coolant hoses go onto the fuel injector manifold, and also the heater was leaking. But I fixed that now, but I'm still conscious of it. I'm scared stiff it's going to overheat, so I always carry that with me along with some water, which I keep in there. I haven't found a decent home for that yet, but it's sitting there for the moment, but it can also go on the floor. And I thought, well, since I've got that sitting in there, I'm going to make this. There we are. There's a pipe. It goes down there like that. Goes down there like that. So that comes out of the 20 litre water. Just get the, and I can sort of sit it there and tie it. I can tie it on there with a cable tie if I want to, and then turn it on, and running water. It's good too. So that's that. Got I keep a filleting knife there just in case I need a knife in an emergency. Got a little it's a 300 watt inverter, just for plugging. I can charge camera batteries and things, phone, although I can do that from other ways, but that's handy just for in particular for charging up the camera batteries, because I can put the fast charger on it, and it works really, really well. Towel, always get wet. I had a gap in the middle, so I've just put ropes and things. I used to keep my little shovel in there, but I've shifted that now. Another drawer. This is where I keep bigger stuff. That frying pan just happens to fit there with my plate in it. Got some wet weather gear. I carry a lot of towels. It sounds silly, but I'll explain it to you a bit later on. It's a bit hard to focus everything. This is my wet weather gear. So this is my motorbiking stuff. So over trousers and a waterproof jacket, rain jacket. They're really, really good because they're lightweight, small, pack up nice and small. Take my frying pan out. Now, yeah, I keep a lot of towels because I hate getting wet. So we've got, what, 3 towels there. Gloves, some pillow. I've got a couple of blankets just in case I get cold, or if I need them for other people, or for emergencies or something like that. You know, if there's an accident, we need blankets for any particular reason. An old army blanket and one of those cheapy ones. I've got some motorbike goggles, and again I'll explain why shortly when we go and look at the bush truck, because it doesn't have a windscreen. So I'll wear my goggles. Can't even get that out. Haven't had them out for a long time. Oh, there we go. There's my goggles. Motorbike goggles. Oh, fell down. Yeah, so I can wear them when I'm driving the truck. I've got a few scratches on from my big crash I had on motorbike, but I can put another lens in there easily enough. Not a problem at all. So that's that one. Now, I don't know whether you may have noticed before I put the tailgate down that I've got some extra reversing lights on this car. Betty's still there. She likes helping whenever we're doing anything. I'll just put the tailgate back up. Now, see, I've got put a couple of spotlights on the back. And the reason for that is I've got a reversing camera down there, and it's got its own LEDs, which are really good for close-up work. And what I do is I put the camera down like that when I'm putting the trailer on, so I can see the tow ball when I'm backing up to the trailer at night, so I can see that. But these ones, they light up the whole area behind the car, and they're just brilliant. And that brings me back to this, which I haven't mounted yet, but that's just the switch. I can switch. It's connected to the reversing. It's connected to the reversing lights, so that when you go into reverse gear, they go on. But I can also switch them off there if I need to. And I was going to connect them so that I could turn them on whenever I wanted to as well, but there's no point. I haven't really found a reason for doing that. Just tucked down the side here. Always like to carry a lump of wood. You may as well use that for. I've got things like electro-clean, just in case I have to clean the dizzy on the bush truck. Got WD-40 lives in there. I've got some oil in case I need to top up the engine oil. Tyre repair kit. What else have I got? Brake fluid and automatic transmission fluid as well. So they just sit there, and that little box just sort of fits there nicely. There I've got fire extinguisher for emergencies. And in this black bag here, I keep shopping bags in case I find myself at the supermarket without any bags, which isn't very often. So you've got another chunk of wood there. They're just handy, particularly for you know, for if you're jacking stuff up, or you need, I don't know, chock a wheel or something. Be handy to have those. So that's that. I'll give you a quick look on the inside. The only way I could get the bed in, you have to excuse the sand everywhere because we go to the beach every day. I took the 2/3 side rear seat out, but I left this one in. Firstly, because my big dog can't jump in without it. He likes that extra little step. And also, if I need to carry a passenger, I can. There's no problem with that. If I go camping, I can put it down like that, and when it's folded up, I can fit the water bottle down there, so it's out of the way. Got a toolbox in over there. By having the bed up like that, I've got a lot of storage in underneath it. Got a jump starter pack there in case I ever need it, which and it's also handy for plugging in for charging devices, or if you want a cigarette lighter for any particular thing. It's there. And down the bottom there, I've got my air compressor hose that I can plug into the air compressor to air up my tyres, pump up tyres for any other particular reason. I'll go around the other side in a minute. I keep a little chair, you might be able to see. I'll go around the outside. Now on this side, in there is sleeping bag, and underneath here is the other end of my toolbox. I've got a recovery strap there, which is just an old one that I hardly ever use, but I thought I'd keep it in this truck just in case for emergencies. But I keep all my good recovery gear in the other Range Rover. And then I've got tie downs in a bag there. They just sit there, and that's for tying the other Range Rover onto the trailer and tying other stuff down on the trailer as well. You might recognise that for any people who've spent any time in the hospital. I have an unnatural need to get up during the night to go to the toilet, and it's a real pain getting in and out of this thing, particularly in the rain. So I carry a pee bottle with me, pee into that, and then I can throw it out in the morning. Disgusting, I know, but works well. I had this place in the footwell that I thought, I might as well do something with, because what I've done to hold the bed up is simply just got a bit of plywood there holding the bed up, and that's just a flat piece of plywood, and it joins onto the box. Oh, Betty's in the way, but it joins onto the box under there, just under there. That goes all the way to the back. Anyway, this space I thought would be handy, so I've got more of my air gear in here. There's a tyre pressure gauge. That's the short hose I use just for doing using air on this particular vehicle. The other hose, the other end there, through in there somewhere. There, you can just see it. That's for doing other people's vehicles, because it's 15 metre hose. 15? 10? No, that's 10 metre hose, that one. And this is one of those stretchy ones. And also my compressor doesn't have a tank on it, so you've got to have this sort of fitting on the end of it that just goes all the time. Where's the figures there? It just goes all the time, because if you stop the airflow, the compressor overheats and starts melting things, which is not very funny. Now, and I've got a little wee shovel here, a little emergency shovel, it's pretty much a toilet shovel really, but it's a good place for it. And this is my little chair, little fold-up camp chair, again from my motorcycling days where I needed everything really small and light, but it's good, it's great, it works well, it does the job. So you can go back in there, go back in there. Now, if we move to the front of the vehicle, I've got another little fire extinguisher I keep there just so I can grab it really fast. It's just held on by Velcro. And again, throwback to my motorcycling days when I needed something light and small, and you always have to have a fire extinguisher when you're motorbiking in the bush here in New Zealand, especially in the summer, in case you cause a fire. In the cabin here we've got quad lock for the phone, reversing camera screen, that's my COVID-19 mask which I have to use. This is the screen for my Parrot hands-free system. That's just the remote for my garage door. A little keep a few coins in there. UHF radio, and that's mounted in there, screwed in there. Same with that, that's glued in. And we've got the clock. Now that clock never ever worked, never kept decent time. One day when I was putting this other stuff in, I thought, oh bugger, I'm going to pull it out and squirt some WD-40 in the back of it. So I did, and now it's absolutely perfect. Never loses time. It's spot on all the time. It's really, really good. Amazing, eh? Anyway, now, as you know, P38s have air suspension, and this is where the air suspension controls used to be, because this truck's been converted to coil springs. So I thought, well, I don't need the switches. What am I going to do with it? So I put in it that little USB outlet, and I can do a USB, what is it? Mini USB thing, Type C, yeah, USB-C. Plug in the top there, because my iPhone power cord has got that plug on it, and this is the normal USB one. Just goes at the bottom there, and that's just connected up to my wireless charger on the quad lock. So that's that. Microphone. I've converted all the lights to LED. That one. Yeah. Those ones. You'll notice the headlining's gone. Common problem with Range Rovers and Discoveries is the headlining all sags. So I found that the actual moulding is fine. It's only the material or the fabric that sags. So I just ripped it off. Looks rude, but it's fine. Just a job. What else I was going to show you? Oh yeah, my mirror. This is a clip-on, Chinese clip-on mirror with a camera incorporated in it. Oh, there you can see the camera just sticking out the back there. And so what it does, it just goes all the time, and I've got it set on a 3-minute loop, so it just keeps recording in a loop every 3 minutes. But I can set it to record to fill up a whole 64 gig SD card if I want to, and it's a mirror. I think when I switch on the card, actually this camera's not picking it up, but just there is the camera screen inside the mirror, and it shows me, it's a forward-looking camera, so I can see what's going on and film everything in front of me. Now, it offends my OCD terribly, because I had to mount it not only upside down to make sure I had the camera on this side, because it's designed for left-hand drive vehicles where the camera is on that side. So I had to put it upside down, but also it's just strapped on with these rubber. Actually, that one's out of sight. It's quite good. Little rubber straps there and there, and it's just strapped to the existing mirror. And I had to do something, because the existing mirror, the original mirror, it just buggered, didn't work. Couldn't see anything out of it. There's the microphone for my hands-free phone system and music system. So that's that. Just on the steering wheel too, there's a remote. That's the remote control for the phone, hands-free phone, and the stereo controls, play button, forward and back and forward buttons on there as well. And that is the volume, and also for scrolling through the menu, that little thing there. Lovely. What else have I done? Oh, here's another thing. P38 Range Rovers have got this armrest gizmo here with a box underneath. In that cubby hole I keep my little handheld radios, and these are 2-watt handhelds, and I use these for when I'm in the bush truck, for when we're doing some, the off-roading stuff where we get stuck all the time and you've got to talk to people outside the vehicle, the guy pulling your winch rope out, or the next fellow up the track, or the next one down a hill and around a corner or whatever. So they're really handy. I've got a pair of those. That's that one. That's the other one, and they work well. the volume's not that flash on them, but it's good enough. And I keep all sorts of bits and pieces inside there. What's it got? Leatherman handy. And I've got this. That's connected up to the main cigarette lighter plug, but it does three. I've got those two USB things in there at the moment, so don't use for anything at the moment. And then there's two USB outlets there, and that one there is connected to this. I'll show you how this works. So if you turn that lid upside down and fold it down, hang on. Fold it down that way, you get a cup holder, and I've mounted in this this wireless charging plate for my phone, so I can sit my phone on there to charge up while I'm driving along, or at night I can just sit it on there and it'll charge up during the night wirelessly. Yeah, pretty smart, eh? I built that before I did that, so I actually don't need it, but it's handy and it's fun, and it fits perfectly in a the cup holder thing. Oh, a bit of rubber's coming off it. Yeah, so that's that. Still running all-terrain tyres on here. These are 265 70s, I think. Yeah, 265 70s. 16s. Now, because I've got the suspension lifted up with the coil springs, I've got room in there to fit in 33s will fit under there. So I can go to at least 265 85 mud tyres, or I'm going to try and go 285s, but I might have trouble with them catching on the mud flaps here, but I can always take the mud flaps off, but I'm pretty sure it'll fit, because I've got 33s on the bush truck, and they fit. If you put it up against it, they fit. Front of the vehicle, got some driving lights here, LED spotlights, really good when you get into some of the gnarly tracks that we've got here in New Zealand, and some of the tracks we do in the bush is a long, like it could be an hour's worth of driving on a narrow bush track just to get into the site where we go driving. So you need really good lights, and I just made that mounting on the front there for my USB aerial. It just simply bolts onto the top of the light there. Gave the grille a paint, took the bumper off because that was colour matched and it was all broken and scratched, and I have actually managed to damage it again, but painted it black and it looks really quite a bit nicer now. Also put a recovery hook down there, painted it yellow because that's the only paint I had. It's starting to rust already. So it's bolted directly to the chassis, as opposed to the standard towing hook which is there, which is pretty strong, but you know, it's not a recovery point. So that's what I did there. Now while I'm here showing you the P38, another thing I just wanted to show you was just how I've done a few little things here. So on the battery side, this wiring here just controls the driving light. Now it's switched from the high beam switch, which I tapped into a wire on the back of the main headlight, and then I've got a switch inside the cab as well where I can turn them off if I need to. And then I just put the relay there because it was a handy bolt to bolt it onto. And there's my nice battery. That's the Thor engine. Where I was talking about the leaks I used to have was just in there, they used to just weep a wee bit. So now you can see there where I put some stop leak in it, and it stopped that from happening. And also it stopped, I put a new heater matrix in the heater, but I couldn't get it to seal properly when I put it all back together. I noticed that one of these pipes, where it goes through the cab, they go into aluminium pipes, and one of them was damaged where it goes into the heater matrix. So I got replacement pipes out of another vehicle, wrecked vehicle, put them in, and then new O-rings, but I still couldn't stop it weeping. So the stop leak has fixed that problem as well, and now I don't have any issues at all with it using water. It's been on, you know, that's the maximum level for the expansion tank. It's been there for months and months and months. It just doesn't use any water at all now, so that's good. Brake accumulator's been replaced, obviously. Oh, and that is the brake, the pressure switch that controls the compressor, the brake compressor. So it doesn't work on, the booster doesn't work on vacuum on these vehicles. It works on a compressed air and nitrogen in that bulb. So it needs a switch, and the switch packed up. Fortunately, it's a common sort of switch. You can't buy them from Range Rover at all, unless you buy the entire pump, and it's about $2,500. $1,000. I managed to get that switch off eBay for 50 US. It's a used one, but it works. It worked really well, and I thought it would be a real major to change it. Took me probably 15 minutes tops, and most of that was getting the motor out of the way and unbolting it so I could get it off. So that was a good fix for that. So that fixed the brakes. Now on this side, because it used to have air suspension, I've taken the air suspension compressor out, and the what do you call it, the valve block. The valve block used to go in here, and I've replaced it with this cheap as Chinese bloody pump compressor. It goes up to 250 psi or something ridiculous. Got no regulator or no accumulator or anything on it. I do still have the tank from the original setup as connected to all these pipes down here, which would be very easy to connect to this, but I just can't see the point. I just don't need it. You very rarely use this. It's only for airing your tyres back up after you've been off-roading, and on Sarge as well. That's why I've got the long hose, so I can do Sarge as well. So I just bolted that in there. I've still got the original compressor, and while the original compressor would have been okay for pumping tyres up and down, they're not particularly reliable, and I've had trouble with them before. So I had this thing, my son actually gave me that off his four-wheel drive when he used to live overseas, and it just sits in there nicely, so that does the job, and it's reliable and it's quick and it's easy. Just whack the hose in there and away you go. On Sarge, he's got the same similar motor setup as this. That's the air conditioning compressor. Sarge has still got his one attached, and it still works, but no pipes attached to it. So what you can do is connect up, because that's basically just a compressor, an air compressor. So you can connect your hose fitting straight onto there and put an air filter on the air intake side of it, so that it just pumps fresh air rather than the refrigerant. But the refrigerant that they use in these pumps is actually a lubrication for it as well. So if you're not using the refrigerant, then you have to oil it, keep it oiled so that it doesn't seize up. But it's not a biggie, you know. It uses so little, it's not even funny. If the amount of, so that's Christine the P38. That's her name because she's so bloody unreliable. She's like the Stephen King book and the Stephen King movie called Christine, about the car that was possessed, and that's pretty much how Christine is most of the time. Now here we have Sarge. Sarge is a 1980s, not sure what year, classic Range Rover. I've just got them covered up here at the moment because I don't have a shed to put them in. And there's his trailer. So the previous owners of this house had this concrete driveway put in for storing his motorhome and boat. So it fits the trailer and Sarge quite nicely, just like that. So here's Sarge in all his glory. He's open cab, no windscreen, no body, classic Range Rover that's been shortened. The original classic Range Rovers were 100-inch wheelbase. This one's been shortened down to 90, and the front radius arms have been extended by about 12 inches, 300 mils, just to give it more flex in the front. Sitting on 33-inch Super Swamper tyres at the moment that are very old and very worn, but still work on beadlock rims, 16-inch beadlocks. And he used to have diff locks front and rear, and the guy who built him put those on. But poor old Sarge has been sitting in a shed for 3.5 years, not being used because his owner, the previous owner, built another truck, and so Sarge wasn't needed anymore. Plus he needed a lot of work done on him, so he got put away in the shed and just left there. And then I found out, I actually went for a ride with the owner in his other truck when I first started four-wheel driving with the Land Rover Club, and I loved it so much. I said to this guy, I said, "Gee, I wish I could find one for sale, or I could build one, and you know, I could have my own." And he said, "Well, funny you should say that." And he told me about this truck. So yeah, anyway, it was quite expensive. And anyway, the guy said, well, how about I take the diff locks out of it, because he had someone that he thought he might be able to sell the diff locks to. So we swapped the axles and put standard Discovery 1 axles in it, front and rear, but they're 4.7 ratio, so they're, you know, the low ratio diffs that he just happened to have lying around in the shed. So we swapped them out, and I bought it as it is. Now I'm having to learn to drive it without diff locks, which is really good. It's great to learn how to drive without diff locks. And to be honest, I've only ever been stuck a couple of times with them, and usually that's only because they, you know, the diffs get hooked up, especially if I'm following someone with 35-inch wheels and he digs big ruts, and I go charging in there and I get hooked up on the diffs. But because Sarge is so light and powerful, he just tends to, if you go fast enough, he bounces over most things. When I first got him, I put a A-frame, towing frame on him, because I didn't think I could afford a trailer. But as it happened, this trailer became available from a friend of a friend. Actually, the boss of my son works for, his boss had this trailer that he used to cut a bobcat round on, and didn't need it any longer, so we did a deal and I bought that, and needed a bit of doing up, but it cost me a bit of money to repair the brakes. But other than that, a bit of welding here and there needs to happen, but otherwise it does the job. It's good. Sarge has got a 3.9 litre V8 Rover engine in him. Goes under there, and it's a fuel injected one, so really good engine, super reliable, I think. After 3.5 years of sitting in the shed, so, the owner said, "Oh no, it doesn't go. We don't know why he doesn't go. We just stopped one day and they couldn't get him started." So I put new spark plugs in them, took all the sensors off the motor, cleaned them, sprayed them all with electric clean, and put them all back in, and put a new battery in them, and away he went. Started first time. We were going to go and do a night run, so I put a light bar on the front, but haven't had to use it now because that got cancelled because of COVID. he needs sunglasses because he doesn't like the glare. He's got a little plastic pig mounted up there. Nobody really knows why, except that the previous owner used to be a policeman. Lights, I put those lights on. He didn't, the wiring was already there, but the lights are long gone, so mounted those lights. There's a mounting for another light bar up the top there, but I haven't bothered with that yet. We've got 4-point harness seat belts. The doors made of plywood, weight saving, and you know, if you break them, you just cut out another piece of wood. It's been patched up a few times. Inside here, nothing really to speak of. There's no dash. The seats are God knows what. No idea what the seats are. They're a bit of a pain because they get wet, and I need to put waterproof covers on them. Centre mounted winch down here. There's the winch mounted in the centre. Now the winch rope runs to the rear of the truck through a snatch block and then back out through the front. So whenever you're winching from the front, you're always running through a snatch block, so you get a lot more power from your winch. That wasn't the reason for doing it. The reason for doing it, of course, is so that you can, if you need a rear winch, you can run the winch rope at the back. All you do is, just inside there, there's a bolt that holds the, oh, you can't see it from here, I don't think. You might be able to just see it there. There. That bolt holds the snatch block, which the winch rope goes through, so you can reach in, pull that bolt, and then you can pull the winch rope and the snatch block through there, through those rollers, and then you've got a rear winch as well. As you can see, Sarge is all built out of pipes, bits of old army bits and pieces, because his previous owner used to be in the army as well. On the passenger side now, we've got the fire extinguisher, dashboard as required. Got a fan on the bonnet that just helps remove excess heat out of the engine bay for when you're doing real slow hard work. These louvers here just open up straight into the engine bay as well, so you've always got a heater if you need it, because especially with that fan going, the heat blows through beautifully if you need it on a cold wet day, and it certainly makes a difference. Got a few gauges there, most of which don't work. The ammeter, oil pressure and oil temperature gauges don't work. They're not actually even wired up. Don't know why, but the engine temperature, water temperature one does work, which is the most important. And then switch on, where is it? Got the switches there for one for the lights and one for the compressor pump, the air conditioning compressor. This is the master switch for the winch. It's just there, and the in and out switches on the side of the T-bar on the gear lever, so you can drive and work the winch at the same time. I'll pop around the other side and you can have a look at that. Horn button, got another light switch there, master switch, engine master switch, and that little switch there is for the 12 volt outlets at the bottom. For one of them's wired to the ignition, and the other one's wired directly to the battery, so you can have both. That's what the one with the switch on it is, one that goes to the battery, so you can switch it on and off when the engine's not running. Centre diff and centre diff lock, I should say. And then we've got high and low ratio there, and it's a 4-speed L95 manual gearbox, which is like driving an old Bedford truck. In fact, it's worse. It's yeah, it's a real education trying to learn where the gears are. They're miles apart. Like first might be over here, and fourth is way over there. But yeah, it's all good fun. And of course you can see down into the guts of it. This is the back of the transfer box, rear drive shaft, so it makes it very easy to clean and to service and to get at. Just on this side, put a brand new, that's a Range Rover Classic standard off the shelf brake light switch. It had an old one on there that didn't work, so I got that one, just tied it on with a bloody cable tie. Works a treat. This, yeah, had controls there for the rear diff lock and the ARB compressor. The ARB compressor is still in the truck. It actually hides up inside that little glove box there, and that's where all the electronics are too, to keep them up safe out of the water, dust and shit. Floor's got holes in it for drainage. Under the seat, also good drainage. Oh, up here on the roof, I've got a camera mount for my Sony camera. Just goes down like that. Screw the camera on there. Where'd I put the camera? Oh, it's over here. So I've got this little Sony FDR X3000 camera that I used to use on my motorbike. I have it on the helmet. It's in this waterproof case, which is no longer waterproof because I dug a hole in the back of it to put an external mic in it. But the mic actually, the plug of the mic actually seals the hole so water doesn't get in. But I mainly use it for dust, to keep the dust out. And so 4K camera, it actually just screws up there when I need it, on there, and I can film as I'm going along. So if you see any shots of you know, me when I'm driving, well, that's where it comes from, and that works well. Lights at the back here. As I said, I use the handheld UHF radios, so I don't need a. There used to be an existing aerial on there at some stage, but I don't need it. Use the handhelds, work just as well. I mounted on this shovel. Just sits there, tied on there with a gotcha strap. It doesn't look very beautiful, but it does fit. And again, we've got some holders on here, army type stuff. That one's there for an axe. That axe is brand new, believe it or not. I've never even used it, but of course it's gone rusty sitting there, but it's okay. Fiberglass handle, so it ain't gonna break. And those mounts there obviously used to be for a little short shovel, I presume. Fuel tank is there behind the seats. It's a homemade fuel tank. Holds about 40 litres, I think. No, 50 litres probably. I've never really measured it, but it's amazingly fuel efficient, this thing. Spare tyre. It's had a number of homes, but I've decided to put it there. I put that plywood lid on the back there so I could store other stuff underneath it, and of course the spare wheel always used to live in there as well. But once you got that in there and the batteries in there as well, I'll show you. I've got it so it folds up and the spare wheel can stay on there, but inside the battery lives in there. Now the previous guy had two batteries. He had a separate battery for running the winch, but I found that the brand new deep cycle battery is okay at the moment for running both the winch and keeping everything else running at the same time, as long as you've got the motor running. Again, the floor is perforated. Let the water in and out. Tow rope, that's just a standard tow rope. Oh, back inside the cab here, I've got my, I keep the recovery straps down here under the seat, and tree protector under the seat, because it means I can fish them out without getting out of the vehicle and hand them to a young fellow who's usually running around pulling my winch rope out for me, because I'm not very mobile and I hate getting in and out of this bloody thing. So I just yell out to one of the young blokes who always seem to come with us, and they're quite happy to pull out winch ropes and hook on snatch straps and things. I just claim that I can't get in and out very easily. I've just put the chainsaw in there, put a new chain on it, because a lot of the tracks we do get overgrown in the months where they don't get any use. and so trees fall down in the bush and things and block the track, so it's handy to have a chainsaw. Another guy in the club has an electric chainsaw, but I thought, well, I've got one, I don't use it for anything else, I might as well stick it in here. And this tin box is just exactly what it is. It's a tin box, but I put my lunch, my thermos, my cup, and anything else I want to keep dry goes in there, and I know it will keep dry. And fuel for the chainsaw. And a big lump of wood holds it all up. I used to have that spare wheel just held on with straps, but I've changed it now. I've got the system here. Just got bolted through a couple of blocks of wood, screwed onto the top of the lid, and these blocks there just stop it sliding around. It works okay, it doesn't move. That's good. Now, when I first got Sarge, he had no lights. So I had these lights in the shed, the trailer lights that I had for a trailer that I never used. So I stuck them on because I was, one time we were in the bush and it was really rainy and cloudy, and it gets quite dark when you get under the tree canopy. And I had trouble seeing the guy in front of me, especially when he stopped. I'd go, have to get quite close before I realised he was there. So I thought, oh, I need some tail lights. So I stuck them on and just hooked it up to the light switch, so I've got tail lights. And then after, once this lockdown thing started and COVID started, I thought, well, I've got indicators and brake lights there, why don't I wire them up as well? So I did. I got some cheap Chinese components and on mail order and got them sent over and wired it up, and now I've got indicators and brake lights as well, which is a little bit ridiculous, but who cares? It's actually quite handy when you're traveling in a convoy. And I put motorcycle indicators just up under there, and that works really well. You'd think they'd get smashed, but they don't. Yeah, when you're traveling in convoy, particularly going to start of a track or something, it's very easy to get lost if you don't keep track of the guy in front of you, or the guy behind you doesn't see. So I find with indicators to let people know which direction you're going helps. And that's just me. I just like playing around with shit like that anyway. Yeah, so that's Sarge. He's got I don't know whether those are normal final drives in the axles or not, but they've obviously been replaced. That one's different from the front one. That looks like a standard Range Rover one to me, but that looks like a much stronger one, but I don't really know. All I know is he goes really well. The tyres, like I say, they're old and worn, but you'd be amazed the traction you can get with this thing. Absolutely incredible. Brakes, that's what we've got. That's about it. Yeah. So there you go. I know it's probably a bit boring, but I thought I'd just show you around my two Range Rovers. Can't really call Sarge a Range Rover anymore, but he is. He's got his original Range Rover chassis and Range Rover axles, which are the same as the Disco axles, and Range Rover motor, gearbox, transfer box, all the steering and everything's all Range Rover. The only thing that's not is that it's shorter and he hasn't got a body or windscreen. You can imagine what it's like driving this thing in the rain on a windy day. It's not fun. There you go. Thanks for indulging me. I just I thought that might be interesting for some people. I'll turn around this way so you can see them in the background. I hope you enjoyed the video, and keep watching because I intend to start putting more videos up more often. So we'll see you again next time. Bye.